the book with their hands, saying it's from Allah, when it's not from Allah, in order to sell it for a miserable gain. But let's see what chapter 3, verses 113 to 114 says about Jews and Christians. They are not all alike. Of the followers of the book, there's an upright party. They read Allah's words in the nighttime and they adore Him. They believe in Allah and the last day, and they enjoin what is right and forbid what the wrong, and they strive with one another and hastening to good deeds, and those are among the good. So it says not all of them are alike. There are some Jews and Christians who did recite the words of God the way they should be recited and wouldn't corrupt them. So if you're going to read the Quran in context, it doesn't prove wholesale corruption to the Bible. Chapter 3, verse 199. Chapter 3, verse 199, Surah Al-Imran. And most surely, the followers of the book, Ahl al-Kitab, the people of the book, there are those who believe in Allah, which is revealed to you, and that which has been revealed to them, being humble before Allah. They do not take a small price for the words of Allah. Unlike this other group who wrote a book and made money off of it, this group wouldn't do it because they feared Allah and believed in the revelations. So the most you prove by appealing to that passage is one group at the time of Muhammad corrupted their scriptures, but the same Quran says there were other Christians and other Jews who did not corrupt their scriptures but believed it and feared Allah. And again, this is referring just to the Jews. So even if you prove the Jews corrupted their scriptures, the Christians long before Muhammad's time also had the Hebrew scriptures in their possession, were copying it and circulating it. So even if the Jews corrupted it, the Christians would it. So it doesn't prove wholesale corruption to the Bible. And then finally I said that the Quran says that the Jews were hearing the words of Muhammad and twisting it. So if your interpretation is correct, that means the Jews were corrupting the Quran. Let me read it. Chapter 4, verses 44 all the way to 47. Chapter 4, Surah An-Nisa, verses 44 all the way to 47. Have you not considered those to whom a portion of the book has been given? A portion of the book has been given. They buy error and desire that you should go astray from the way. And Allah best knows your enemies, and Allah suffices as a guardian, and Allah suffices as a helper. Of those who are Jews, there are those who alter words from their places and say, we have heard and we disobey, and hear, may you not be made to hear. And Urayna, twisting the word with their tongues and taunting about religion. And if they had said instead, we have heard and we obey, and hearken and nzumma, it would have been better for them and more upright. But Allah has cursed them on account of their belief, so they do not believe but a little. Here it's talking about Jews at the time of Muhammad. They used to hear Muhammad's words and would twist it with their tongues and pervert what he would say. If your logic is true, and if you're going to be consistent, then the very fact that the Jews were twisting Muhammad's words proves your Quran is corrupt. Obviously you're going to say that's nonsense, because they didn't twist the book, they twisted the words of Muhammad with their tongues, but never tampered with the book. That's exactly the accusation of the Quran concerning what the Jews did with the Bible. Not that they corrupted the text, but distorted it with their tongues. And finally, chapter 4, verse 47. Same context. Look what the Quran says about the book they have. O you who have been given the book, believe that which we have revealed, confirming what you have. Why in the world would the Quran say, we confirm the revelation, the scripture that you have, Jews, if the Jews are corrupted? Why in the world would the Quran confirm a corrupted book? So contextually, the passages you cited do not prove what you're seeking to demonstrate. The Quran, if you read it as a whole in context, affirms that the scriptures are preserved. But the problem with the Jews, and even if you want to say Christians, is that they twist it with their tongues. That's stated here and in chapter 3, verse 78. So nothing you gave demonstrates that the author of the Quran believes the Bible is corrupted.
Now, Manu, are you still with us?
Okay,
Manu, just 1 second. We can't hear you. Let Manu talk. But I just want to say, Manu, once again, even though we love you, you've changed the tables. Instead of defending the Quran, you've gone to attacking the Bible. Now, your Quran says, we've already mentioned in Surah 15:9, we have without doubt sent down the message, i.e. Quran, that's what Yusuf Ali puts in, and we will assuredly guard it from corruption.
To confirm, Pastor Joseph, that it's not limiting into the Quran, notice when it's speaking of the reminder given to the Quran, read verse 6.
Verse 6.
Of the same chapter.
They say, O thou to whom the message is being revealed.
Notice it's specific. You, to whom the reminder is being revealed. So here it's saying the reminder given to Muhammad.
Okay.
But that qualification does not appear in verse 9.
Right, right. And so
it's general.
It's to everything. Now, Manu, please answer us. You have told us that the Quran that you have today is not 100% perfect, letter for letter. And you said, well, corruption is too strong of a word. You said something to the effect of 99.99%. Now, what David has presented and what the evidence of the hadith present is not 99.99%, maybe something along the lines of 93% or 94%. But let's just say it's 1%. Just be generous to you. How does that jive with your verse in 9, which Allah will guard it from corruption? And corruption here by Yusuf Ali and the other commentators, what you're allowing that took place in the Quran would be corruption, would it not?
The word actually used lahafizun, which means we are keeper of it.
Yeah, keeping, exactly, preserving it.
And,
okay.
Also, I don't want to change the subject, but Sam, you left out one verse before I move on to answer.
Please mention it. Mention the verse. We'll address it.
You left out chapter 5, where the Prophet says, "O people of the Scripture, indeed has come to you our messenger," meaning the Prophet Muhammad, "to tell you much of what you hid from Scripture and overlook much."
That actually proves they had the Scriptures, because you can't hide something you don't have.
Right,
the fact they're hiding it means they possess it, because you can't hide something you don't have. And if you want to read the context of chapter 5...
Meaning they had some parts of it that they had dropped out of Scripture.
No, that's not what it says, Manu. I have to disagree with you. The text says, as you cited it, it says, overlooked much and hid. Overlooking much, you can't overlook something that you don't have. Because if you don't have it, you're not overlooking it. But it's speaking to Muhammad's contemporaries, saying you're overlooking something. That assumes they have to have it in order for them to overlook it. And in order for them to hide it, they must first have it. So no, it doesn't support what you're saying. And if you actually continue reading in chapter 5, verses 43 to 48, it actually refutes you and proves my point. So if you're going to go to chapter 5, don't just stop at that verse. Continue reading in verse 43 all the way to 48. And then if I introduce a hadith from Sunan Abu Dawood, your case concerning the Quran saying the Bible's corrupt has no legs to stand upon. And if you want me to address it, I can. For example, chapter 5, verses 43-48, take a moment to look at it. I'm going to mention a hadith in relationship to this very surah. And if you want to read the verses in context, it actually is proving my point. If you go to Tafsir Ibn Kathir, or even Sunan Abu Dawood, either one, in Tafsir Ibn Kathir, he narrates a tradition on chapter 5, verse 41. Chapter 5, verse 41 is part of the context of chapter 5, verses 43 to 48. According to the quote-unquote historical context, a group of Jews asked Muhammad to judge a Jew and a Jewess who were caught in the act of adultery. This is according to a hadith by Abu Dawood, cited by Ibn Kathir in chapter 4, verse 41. It says, Muhammad went to Al-Kuf and he was sitting on a cushion. When they asked him to decide the matter, he says, bring me your Torah. Bring me your Torah. They brought the Torah. It says he removed the cushion. He placed the Torah on the cushion. He says, I believe in you, I trust in you, and him who revealed you. Why is he saying he trusts in their Torah if it's corrupted? Can you put up his volume?
There are places, no, I know, there are places in that the Prophet actually has one specific example that the Jews came to the Prophet and he did tell them go back to the Torah. The judgment of God is in Torah, and whoever does not follow it is actually unfair. However, if you read in the chapter 5, there is talking about breaking of the covenant by children of Israel, by Bani Israel. And he says because of that, they were damned and their hearts were hardened, and they do take the words and they turned it a little bit.
How do they turn it?
The word, actually, the word, the Arabic is yuharrifun.
That's right.
Yuharrifun al-kalam. So they were up to no good at parts. So the situation is much more complex. There were people who were actually turning the words